Molly, you've worked in countries where the democracies are fragile. And I feel like that's something that people here who don't know history don't appreciate, just how rare it is to be living in this era of peace and prosperity. It's historically
Yeah.
such a blip. Uh, but
Yeah.
you've been in these places where they're new democracies, they're democracies that are struggling against foreign intervention. What do you think? Like, Trump's coming to power now. There's all this. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. There's Project 2025. There's day one dictator. Blah 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 blah. What do you think he's going to do? Like, what should we be looking for? What are like the things that you're like, oh shit, he's done this thing. Fuck. Like, that's what I want to know.
I think if this time, so the thing that really helped us in the first Trump administration is there weren't actually competent people to do policy work and who understood process. Like, actually enacting a crazy idea, a good idea, whatever it is extremely difficult in any government situation. So it seems this time there's more preparation, certainly more lawyers who have been thinking about, if we want to do X thing, here's the 20-page memo on how we would do it. Right. And mostly obviously focused on what they can do with executive orders, what they can do with Trump tweeting it out or whatever. So I do worry a bit more about, like, do they actually have the people to get the crazy things done this time? For me, the big red line for are we actually going to do this or not will be if Trump activates any form of the big army as part of a domestic anything force, and or nationalizes
even the National Guard, like,
and or nationalizes any part of the National Guard in order to do domestic work on deportations or rounding up people or anything else. Kind of the whole reason we had a revolution was so these things wouldn't happen in a way that we're comfortable with, which is why we also have the Second Amendment, so that when the government decides to do things like this, we don't just have to watch it. I am not advocating taking up arms against the U.S. Army if it is activated in this country. All I'm saying is, historically, we understand that our military being used against our own people is not good. And there have been instances where the National Guard has been used for the enforcement of peace or other things, but in various points in history that we don't need to go into right now. But I think if we really are going to do this thing where our army, which should be doing other things, other places that we are spending a lot of money for them to do, is actually just here in the United States acting like cops or border agents or whatever, we should have a lot of questions about that. About the money, about why, about what the symbol of it is, about why none of us are doing anything about it, about what that's doing to our military, about what that's doing to our society, about the rifts that's creating in our military, and how do you repair that or don't. There's just, it's like from there, it's just like dead turtles all the way down, in my opinion, if the military is used for any of these vaguely nonsensical goals.
Okay, so I believe it's going to happen on day one, because he said, this is what I'm doing on day one. And he's trying to get the people in there, and I think will succeed, that can make this happen on. This was the big promise that he won on. So
it also polls very popularly, which is really, really, really depressing.
So it's very, very dark. I guess the question is, what do we do? Because I don't know what we can do other than stand by and watch it.
In domestic polling, because the military is one of the few institutions that we still have respect for. And that won't be the case if they're like in our neighborhoods arresting our neighbors. And I think that the people making these decisions need to understand that.